You're listening to Two Guys Talking Wine with Michael Pincus and André Prue.
Tsiakkas?
Tsiakkas.
T-E-I-A-K-K-A-E.
S.
Hello, Michael.
Tsiakkas.
Hello, Michael.
Hello, André. I'm just looking at some notes, and you've spilled stuff on yourself already.
Did I?
Yeah.
Oh, no, it's just beer.
Oh. Well, there you have it.
Okay. It is September 17th. We are getting into the dog days of summer.
Okay.
It has been very, very nice. Very, very nice.
Surprisingly nice, actually.
In September till now. I'm still hearing mixed things in Niagara as of, like, today. Like, by the time this podcast is out, harvest will be, like, well underway. But we're actually not here to talk about Niagara. We're here to talk about
Cyprus. And we did a little bit of Cyprus back in February or March. And you had said to me, boy, I'd like to try some of these wines. And they arrived, and then they sat. and it became very difficult to try and get somebody from one of the wineries to get on the podcast based on the time difference.
Well, time difference and availability, and, you know, this is just a reality, is like you and I, our day jobs and podcast schedule are not as simpatico as they used to be.
Look, if Wines of Cyprus want to bring us down, we'd be happy to go again.
Oh, 100%.
And André would be happy to go for the first time. So I throw that out there now.
We're going to start. So we've got 5 wines and 1 beer on the table. And we're going to start with a beer, which I think is appropriate. You know what I love about this time of year?
It's cool at night.
Yeah.
Hot during the day.
Yeah. Get out of my head.
Great diurnal temperatures.
Yeah, get out of my head. Like, that was exactly what I was going to say. Wait, how do you know I was going to use the word diurnal?
It's a very wine kind of term.
I love this time of year.
Because of the diurnal temperature?
Because of the diurnal shift, yeah. Okay, my wife is sitting beside me and is giving me the weirdest look.
All the time.
Well, then.
Well, she didn't say that on the microphone, so no one heard that.
Okay, well... so this actually, I was sent some beer as well, and it's of the finest quality, according to the label. Keogh. They are one of the original wine companies of Cyprus, one of the large wine companies, and the only wine, if memory serves, the only wine company that still exists. And obviously they are making beer as well.
So,
from there was like 3 wine companies in Cyprus in the bad old days. That was it, and they were all huge wine companies making sweet wines.
All right.
Keogh is the last remaining one that stayed a wine company.
Let me paint the picture of what's in my hand right now. It is your standard, like, dark glass beer bottle,
brown bottle, yep.
Yellow label that says Keogh, finest beer, proudly brewed on the island of Cyprus. So. Fully in English on the front.
Yep.
English common in Cyprus?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Greek as well.
The back label, the first language does appear to be Greek. At the very least, it's not regular alphabet. Keogh is a lager beer of an exceptional quality, traditionally brewed and matured to retain its flavor, aroma, and freshness. Water, malted barley, maize, hops. So there's corn in this beer. So that's the Budweiser recipe. 4.5% alcohol, which I dig. So I think I said this on the podcast before. My taste in beer is pretty basic. You know, I love like pale, light lagers as long as they're craft. Like, I think Coors Light and Pabst Blue Ribbon are a little too
light
boring for me, a little too boring. But, you know, something like a Collective Arts lager or like the Merit SVP, which is a light wheat beer. Like, those are things that really make me excited. But, like, I don't know. This is I'm glad we're opening this on like the end of a hot day, because this feels like a hot day beer.
It does. And I do want to thank before we go any further, Kolonaki Wine Group.
Oh, nice.
They were the ones who sent us the wines.
Wait, does Kolonaki import Keogh?
They do.
let's go buy some KO for next summer.
So, they bring it. They bring all these stuff in, and they were nice enough to. If you've ever tried to bring wine from outside of Canada in, man, do you need an agent? There's just.
Oh yeah, that's a behind the looking glass. You've been working on a few things with Italy and Cyprus where people have tried to mail you unsolicited samples, and you get an email from like FedEx or something being like, you owe X number of dollars in duty, and it's just like, wait, what?
Yeah, I can't. So if you are trying to send us wine from outside of the province, here's my recommendation to you:
get an agent.
Is either one, get an agent, or get in touch with André or I, and we will see if you have an agent. So,
all right, let's move right on to the wine, since this isn't a beer podcast.
No, so so we're going to try 2 white wines, and at the time we were talking about the different grape varieties that are available on Cyprus, and so here we are. None of these varieties are available anywhere else, as far as I know, unless they are DNA somewhere else. So this was what? This was
Promara.
What did you just pour?
Promara.
Okay, so I'm looking through my notes. Promara is one of those grape varieties.
This is lovely.
That's on the island.
But
it's very. It's not very. It's not very prevalent.
All right, I'm gonna go out and say this is lovely, but this is one of those things where it would really depend on the price, how excited I am about it.
That I don't have. I'll be honest with you.
Well, so it's got a salinity on the nose and on the palate.
I also find a Sauvignon Blanc characteristic.
I was just going to say that it's super tropical.
One of the
pink grapefruit.
One of the things a lot of wineries do in Cyprus, or they did originally, was they brought in international varieties, and Sauvignon Blanc was one of the ones they did. And sometimes they do shove them into the blends. I've got no note about that here. But
what do you have notes on? Make yourself useful.
I'm trying to figure this out, but I think, you know what I did? I did all my wine notes on the computer, and I did all my notes about the winery
on paper.
Okay,
well, let's okay. You know what? Then you and I are both winging it blind on the wine. Tasting note. If I saw Promara at the LCBO, if I saw this Promara at the LCBO and it was less than $20, I think it would be worth the price of admission for curiosity.
Yeah, this is a Zambartas. That's the name of the winery. The father was one of the first university-educated winemakers of Cyprus. They grow 14 grape varieties, or 14 grape varieties that are indigenous to the island. Let me just think here. And 80 to 90% of vineyards have been ripped out over the last 30 years. So you think of Ontario as a young wine industry. Cyprus is an old wine industry.
Start again.
But quality wine-wise, they're only 30 years old. So you're looking at some very... but they got some very old vines, as long as they didn't get ripped out. Ooh, we're going to have some veggie straws now.
Oh, yeah. Spenny's at the table here, and she's throwing her snack everywhere. Okay. What did a wine like this typically cost at the winery? I know you don't... I know you, when you travel, you look at things a little differently than I do, but I'm always curious what it costs at the winery, because I'm big into enotourism, where, I love when I can travel somewhere, and I love when I can get a good bottle of wine, but I like to bring wine back with me, and it's been a while since we've revisited this adage, because your stupid voice is in my head every trip that I take. And I've had, I know you've had this happen too. So many people who, when they get back from a trip, were just I was in Oregon, I was in Napa Valley, and I brought this wine back, and it tasted like crap. And it's just yeah, because wine always tastes better where it's made and in the presence of the winemaker. So you really need to make sure that wine is a banger before you shell out the cash and bring it home.
You got to like it 200% better than you'd like it at home.
Yeah, I've been saying that you have to like it twice as much as you think you do, which doesn't make sense until you've had that bad experience of bringing one home. Oh, this is a cute label. There's a bunny on the label.
Correct, and this is
Spencer. Look, bunny.
This is Tsiakkas Winery. It doesn't look like Tsiakkas.
It's written in Greek.
You tried to pronounce it. And this grape variety, what does it say on the bottle?
Xinestri.
Oh, Xinestri. So Xinestri is one of
I said it almost right.
Correct. Xinestri is one of their oldest grape varieties that they have.
Oh, this smells great
and
too.
They make lots and lots of white wine out of Xinestri. What I like about
this smells like a northern rose. It smells like Marsanne or Roussanne.
Like there is boring Xinestri because it is the grape they make the most. Think of it as like Vidal, right? So it's prevalent on the island. But when you find a good Xinestri, man, they are just outstandingly good.
Well, you tell me, because I have my thoughts on this wine.
Yeah, I like the acidity on that.
This is a banger, man.
Yeah, and Xinestri, I think, actually means without acid.
So the nose on this, I thought there was some oak presence because there is like hints of like vanilla, but it's very subtle. This is also quite tropical, just like the Promara. On the palate, though, like I don't know, this Xinestri feels like a cousin of Marsanne or Roussanne. This is like crunchy and mineral, like really like chalky on the mid palate, but it's got a lot more fruit than Marsanne or Roussanne.
So the interesting part is Xinestri actually means lack of acidity. That's what the grape variety means. So sometimes, again, they had to augment it with some Sauvignon Blanc, but I don't think this one is. I believe this is just straight Xinestri.
Yeah, alcohol's 13%.
But you grow them like at really high altitudes, right? So you get that you can keep some of that minerality, some of that. And some of these vineyards are like at 1,500 meters.
This is one I think if I saw it for like $30 or less, I might buy it for the curiosity. If there were more Cyprus wines, I'd probably cap this at like 25.
We could probably go on to Kalanaki's website and see what they have like available from Cyprus to see what they would be when they land on our shores. Actually, I like the Promara a little bit better, but the Xinestri has got its place.
I like the Xinestri better, I think, just because it's got that, I like Marsanne and Roussanne because it's like adjacent to Chardonnay. Of course, this is like now 2 steps away from it.
Yeah.
For me, this it feels like a really interesting Chardonnay. This is like a Chardonnay second cousin.
I like the Promara because the acidity it feels really zippy and zingy and it had that like mineral quality to it, but it also had that tropical note. So I kind of really enjoyed that. So those are 2 of the white varieties that we experienced on Cyprus.
So they sell this. I nailed the pricing. If it was Price is Right rules,
yeah,
I would have got it right. You know how I said I'd cap it at 25 if it was every day?
Yeah.
This comes in at $26.95.
Okay. And then the
Zambartas. Let's see the Zambartas. I might need to put an order together for these.
I told you, Cyprus.
Zambartas Promara is $27.95.
Yeah.
If it's coming down to one or the other, I'm taking the Xinestri
over
at
the Promara.
26.
Surprising. I thought the Promara, for my palate, I liked it because of the acidity being a little bit higher. So
they're both great wines. I mean, there's no. We're literally discussing personal preference here now. You and I both agree these are both well made.
Yeah, and they've been sitting in my trunk for like months. No, I'm just kidding.
I mean, it's too bad it's cooling off a little bit quicker than I would have liked right now.
But yeah, so you got to think this is a hot country come growing season. We're talking about 40 degrees easily. So we're just gonna wing for the reds now.
Ooh, dark color.
You're gonna find a lot of dark coloring in a lot of these Cyprus wines. So I want to see if you can say the name of the grape.
Okay. Nope. Oh. Maratheftiko. Okay, I was okay.
You were close.
Not as close as I was with Xinestri.
Now, Maratheftiko, if I'm not mistaken, means little imp.
We have one of those at the table.
Yes.
You hear that, Spencer? This grape is named after you.
Something like that. A little imp or something to that nature. Which I always loved the name of it, first of all.
Okay, this smells boozy, and then I look down at the bottle. I wish the back of the bottle wasn't facing me. Do you know what the alcohol is on
Probably
this?
14 and a half. A lot of them are 14 and a half.
Guess again.
15?
Guess again.
15 and a half.
15 and a half.
Yeah, it's not unheard of. Even though they're growing at higher altitudes, they're still hot. So these things are getting ripe.
Ooh, blueberry.
Yeah, so you're going to find a lot of interesting things in here. I'm just trying to, again, go through the notes, try to find out if I can find and I know I've done it.
Oh, man, you remember, okay, last week we did like a very emotional, impassioned podcast where we, tried to say, and one of the things we said is we were going to be better, and part of this better prepared, better researched.
But the problem is I didn't realize I left my notes on the computer. We
talked about Zambartas. So is Zambartas okay? Let's break it down. Big winery, small winery. I'm guessing big winery.
No, they're all small wineries. There's no the Keo.
Like how many cases? How many cases are we talking?
Oh, we're talking about these guys. If they're 10,000 cases, they're big.
Okay, so that's like a Featherstone side for
they're all
size.
Small, they're all small wineries these days. That's why you don't see a lot of the stuff coming off of. Coming out of there very often. Like this, what are we at? Zambartas?
Yeah.
So let me just take a look at some notes here from Zambartas. And stupid me, I also didn't bring any glasses. So
Maratheftiko. Okay, this is a tasty wine. It's standing up to the alcohol well, but it will sting your nostrils if your go-to is cool climate wine. Because even though there is nice balance with acid in this wine, it is very much warm climate. If I had to draw a comparison to something in the market, this feels a lot like a tamer Zinfandel. It's got a lot of the concentration. It's got a lot of the blue flavors. The tannins are so soft and easy drinking on this. I hate it when wine bottles have food pairings on them, just because I'm becoming more of a proponent of the fact that everybody's palate is different.
Let them try something.
And very rarely is someone super in the mood for something. But the back of this bottle says, pair with lamb and beef on charcoal. And I'm not going to lie. I think that would be a killer match to this.
I'm getting
get the smoke from the meat.
Get that smokiness of the wine as well.
It would probably make it taste more like Zin.
So I do have a little bit of information here for you. So you're looking at approximately on Cyprus about 8,000 hectares.
Wow,
that's it. That's all you got. And Zambartas does 100,000 liters.
Wow.
Of production. 3 entry-level wines, 7 part of their home range, and then they do some single vineyard as well. Their highest vineyard is at 1,050 meters. Their lowest is at 575 meters.
Okay. So,
and then, as I mentioned to you, Cyprus had at one point just 3 wineries. Now they have around 50 wineries.
I think it's cool that they brought you out there. Okay, so we talked about color. This is almost a rosé.
And this, and you want to read me the label there?
Yeah, it is Maipo or Mavro.
Mavro, yes.
From Tsiakkas.
Tsiakkas.
Okay, so the square letter E is an S.
This is one of my favorite wines that they make, but Mavro.
Oh, this smells like candy.
Mavro was the most planted red and the most neglected wine grape on the island. They used to make all kinds of stuff out of this. This, to me, reminded me always of like a Gamay. Like you could chill this wine and just totally love it.
It's very candied. Like it's candied cherry. It's missing the spice and the earthiness that you get from Gamay.
Correct. But what I'm saying about that,
but there's a nice mineral to this.
When I say Gamay in this respect, it's a nice entry level red. You get lots of where you get very little color, and you get a lot of that fruit. So if you could imagine having this chilled, it would be just like it's a delightful wine at that point.
Yeah, and I imagine from a winemaking standpoint, the lack of color might be just smart extraction to make sure that you don't end up with harsh tannins.
I don't think you get a lot of color out of this wine.
Well, I'm also getting very little tannin on the back end too.
Yeah.
Like this wine drinks like water.
Yeah, and that, we were drinking tons of Mavro, and I.
Well,
really
we should have opened this before opening the.
Correct.
Maratheftiko.
But we do remember the part about me forgetting the computer, right?
Whatever happened to us being better, Michael?
Well, I think we are better because we are drinking wine from Cyprus.
Okay.
And now, did you get some pricing on that, or we wait till we finish?
No, there was no pricing on that one. Actually, sorry. Let me double check the pricing on that. There was no pricing on the Maratheftiko because there's only one wine on the Kolonaki group. So there won't be a price on this. Margelina, or is it Margelina?
So Margelina, if I'm not mistaken, is there. This is a blend, and it should tell me around the back here what is a blend of. And of course, wait, maybe in the show notes, Andre, I should put a bunch of descriptors of what the grapes are in this.
Okay,
this is a single vineyard.
The previous wine that we had on the bottle, it says, Mapo, Mavro, and then on the Kolonaki website, it says Muklas. It's going to be $31.95 a bottle. I'll be honest, like I said, I'm giving...
Euros, right?
No, $31.95 Canadian.
Oh, okay.
I'm giving a bit of a bump because of the interest. Like, I think that's like a $25 bottle of wine. Yeah. But $31.95, like, it doesn't feel super overpriced because it's a good wine from an emerging region.
So this is the last one we're doing. This is a Margelina, which, if memory serves, is actually a single vineyard blend.
Oh my God, this is lovely.
Yeah. See, this is why I think I wanted to wait for this one at the end, because I really thought this one would be the showstopper.
Well, why is it under a screw cap where everything else is under diam?
I can't answer that question.
Okay. Is this their upper tier?
This is their single vineyard tier, so they make very little of this stuff.
Single vineyard Margelina, field blend of indigenous varieties, mainly Mavro, one of the last centenarian vineyards of the country, telling a great past and a promising future. Enjoy with authentic local dishes. Man, I would love to do some Cypriot cooking right now, but I don't have any recipes in front of me. If you're listening to this podcast from Zambartas, put some links to some recipes on here. Come on, help me out a little bit. I would love to do the full Cyprus experience here, but I don't even know what they eat in Cyprus.
So it's a lot of Greek cuisine, a lot of Mediterranean cuisine. You do get a lot of fish.
I got some souvlaki in the freezer.
We did tons of souvlaki. There are all kinds of Greek restaurants around, all over the place. Many of the restaurants we went to, you started off with a little bit of bread, then you'd get some sort of roasted meat, you'd get some veg, and it was just, the food was just that Mediterranean cuisine that you'd get in a place like Greece, like in St. Catherine's. You'd go to George's Greek Village. That's the kind of place I would bring some of these wines and easily eat that. Your favorite Greek restaurant, because it really is a very Greek community.
Man, I've got a big smile on my face about this, and you and I both have had a chance to travel, and I think it's part of the job. We take it serious. Obviously, we enjoy wine travel. I wasn't jealous of you being in Cyprus at the time, I think, because I had a lot going on in my life. But now tasting these wines, because we only have 2 wineries on the table and 1 brewery, I feel like I missed out. And I've got a big smile on my face because I think this is a place that needs to be revisited.
Yeah, it's a place that people have to get to just to really experience it. And I went in February, which everybody said was a terrible time to go. It's going to be the rainy season. We didn't see that much rain. I'll also tell you that as a Canadian, I was the only one in shorts. Everybody else was like, "Oh, it's so cold."
Oh my God!
And I'm like, "It's 20 degrees," but they go, "But it's February." I'm like, "I don't care."
Michael, it's my favorite thing about being a Canadian and traveling in general is just because of working at the radio station. I had limited time when I could do travel. Anya and I, we did our honeymoon in Poland, France, and Switzerland back in 2018 in January. And it was boots and puffy vest weather, but everyone in Lyon was huddled up in massive parkas, and I'm there in a flannel shirt and a puffy vest, and it's just 5-7 degrees in January. Sign me up.
I will admit my biggest mistake in Cyprus. We were at one point the day that we went to 1,575 meters, which is the highest vineyard in Cyprus. I was in shorts and a t-shirt. It was 4 degrees up there. It was pretty cold.
Yeah, I can imagine that.
It was the first day that I went, yeah, I feel this one.
Yeah.
I feel this one.
Thanks so much for bringing these wines. This is a real treat to get a chance to this is another thing about my travel and tourism is when I like to travel, I like to bring ingredients to cook with, because every time you cook a meal with the ingredients you bring back with you, you get to re-experience a part of the trip, which is one of the reasons why, even with your stupid little voice in my head, and Conrad Edgebick, former wine writer from CBC, who basically said, don't travel with wine, bring olive oil instead.
Absolutely. I agree with him 100%.
I still prefer to travel with wine, but with your stupid little voice in my head telling me you like it twice as much as you think you do. And so far, your stupid little voice has served me well.
Yes, it will. I when I did the wine tours, I did the same thing. I would tell people, make sure you like the wine.
Well, and that's it. I've come back from some press trips with 2 bottles. I've come back from some press trips with 8 bottles, and it's because I only bring back the good stuff.
Correct, and it's got to be really good stuff. Yeah. And look, I would go back to Cyprus in a heartbeat. I'd really like to go with you. I think you'd have a great time there. Their wines, as you can see, are emerging. We're not going to see them here. You know what? At 8,000 hectares, you're not going to see them sitting on the shelves of the LCBO.
The quality is outstanding
but the
on
quality
all these
is
wines.
Great.
Yeah.
Especially
tremendous
at the
value here.
12 wineries that we ended up going to. I thank Wines of Cyprus, and I thank again Kalinaki Group. They did not pay for this in any way. They just sent me the wines.
Sending us the wines. Yeah,
they were able to get me the wines, which I thought was great. And Andre,
sign off.
I think it's time to sit back and have a glass.
Yeah, I'm gonna have a glass of a couple of these. I think it's too cool for the beer, but I definitely think I'm going to stock up on some KO for next spring. I'm André Prue from AndreWineReview.ca at André Wine Review. Angry emails, text messages. If we said anything to offend you, please let us know.
I'm Michael Pincus of MichaelPincusWineReview.com. You can find me on social media, mostly as a grape guy. And Andre, tilt your head back, enjoy that one. Good night.
Thanks for listening. Please subscribe to Two Guys Talking Wine on iTunes.
Two Guys Talking Wine is produced by Jim Ray, Adam Duran, and Ken Little.